wondering about that for 10 years now. We've been in Afghanistan, involved in a war, and I remember when the decision was first made to deploy troops to Afghanistan, I was thinking one of the first things that came to my mind was that wonderful improvised flute solo that you recorded from the Khyber Pass.
That's all right. I remember being up in the Khyber Pass, and boy, you talk about being a stranger, or if you think you were going to, barge into someone's scene or raid a moonshiner's place or trespass on someone's property. In Texas, it'd be considered to be a cattle thief or something, or breaking into someone's house. When you're up there, you're definitely in someone else's place, and you're definitely an outsider, and you really got to be in the good diplomatic mode. And I was with the guy who I met when I flew in to Pakistan, and he saw me carrying all my instruments. He said, "Oh, what is that?" So I started playing everything in my bag. He said, "That's great." He said, "I went to New York once." And he said, I went to the nightclubs and heard jazz and did all that stuff. He said, "We'll have to spend some time together." So he was the airline pilot, He took me all around different parts of Pakistan. He said, "I'd like you to meet my family." And his family lived in one of those old-fashioned huts that they built themselves. And they were all Orthodox, and they had dyed red hair that they put some kind of a special berry or root. They were real traditional, Orthodox Muslim home, and I was welcomed in there, and boy, I felt a warmth that was like unbelievable, because I was with their son. And then he took me up and he said, "You have to come up and, bring your little flutes and we'll go up to the Khyber Pass." So I went up there, and those were some rough cats, as they say. You talk about some serious-looking guys. But I was with their friend. So then he asked me to play a little music, and I started playing. Right away, they just came right in, and they all have these instruments and stuff that they play too. But they're not, it's not so much, going out to be a professional musician. It's just something that they do as part of their lives. And when I was before I went to the Khyber Pass, where I got those flutes that I used to play that, they said, "Well, you have to see the great flute store in the old Punjabi section called Lahore." I said, "Okay." So I went in this old town with all those little streets that look like out of a movie. I could hear this fantastic flute player. And I said to someone, "Pardon me, do you know where the flute store is?" He said, "Yeah, that's that guy over there." There was somebody sitting there with a whole big knapsack with all flutes sticking out, playing. So someone introduced me and they said, "Oh, American musician." I had some penny whistles, so we went into some little place where they sold tea and coffee. And he took all his flutes out and was playing them, and then I gave him a penny whistle, and I got some flutes from him. That was the flute store. Just the guy walking around with these gorgeous, they call them bonsri, B-O-N-S-R-I, these traditional folk flutes. And some of the music that they play there is so amazing. I have a picture. It's on the internet, on Flickr, where, and I can send it to you if you email me. I'll send you a copy where I was playing. It was called Radio Lahore. There's about 15 guys playing all those old traditional instruments. And they start out a piece and it'll last about 7 hours. So you're told you can go out for lunch in the middle of the piece and come back, but you don't interrupt anybody. And it was just an amazing experience that if it hadn't been for music, I never would have seen that. Even if I had been, a multimillionaire, you couldn't have bought the chance to be with people who would open up their homes and their hearts to you because they saw, And when I played Red River Valley, a woman said, you know, she said, I've never been to your country. When I close my eyes, I can see that beautiful river and that beautiful west that you have. Pretty wonderful.
Yeah.
And you can see that our music, our most sincere folkloric music made out of love and devotion and somehow preserves, how that touches other people's hearts. Pretty wonderful thing.
Well, given that perspective, what do you think is going to be the solution to stabilizing that region again, and once again having it so that a musician such as you could go to the Khyber Pass and find
friends?
Well,
I think, I don't know if it could be stabilized, but I think people would have a much better picture of what America and Americans are about if we could have people going there to show them the beauty part and the decency part and the moral part. Not going there to say, well, look, you have to give up all that stuff and open up fast food restaurants, and you've got to give up all your traditional music and get down with the top 40, or they have to give up anything but to try to diplomatically share the beautiful things that we have, so maybe people get the idea that they could learn something about that. And secondly, and most important, that we could have a chance in this country to understand something about their cultures of the positive side. We certainly don't know enough about the negative side. And conversely, people in other countries know about our negative side, because when we send some of those reality TV shows and stuff over there, that's who they think Americans are, exclusively. Mm-hmm. Now we all know people that are like that, I mean, they have disgusting people everywhere. But there's a lot of people in this country that are so wonderful and beautiful. If they could send the whole Kerrville Festival overseas, or the San Antonio Symphony, or the chamber players, or the wonderful artists, or some of our sports teams, people that theater groups, or even the 4-H club, or something of that nature. It's people that are really devoted and have something of beauty to offer. They could send Flaco Jimenez over, or Tish Hinojosa. She's one of the great San Antonio icons. Boy, I could see her going over there and singing. They'd fall in love with America. They'd all want to move to Texas.